LaFleur coaching the big time and take the Packers where they need to go. One game away from the Super Bowl. We got the AFC and NFC championship games, both rematches from good games in the regular season. So, JJ, we're going to play a little What's the Number?
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a player and his stat line from the first game in the regular season. You're going to tell me how he's going to perform on Sunday.
Gotcha.
Ready to go?
I'm ready.
First up, your guy, Devontae
Tay.
Adams. In Week 12, he had 43 yards receiving. I suspect you have him a little higher than that this time.
Well, 43 yards the first time, 160 the last time he took the field in the playoffs. I'm saying he goes into San Fran. No disrespect to Richard Sherman. Hey, gave me a lot of problems when I played. But Devontae is special. I'm saying, why ain't my stuff working? Do I got to press this?
Yep.
130. 130
That's actually pretty
yards.
good handwriting for having to start a little slow right there. All right. Nice job on that one. Same in the NFC Championship game. Nick Bosa, the number 2 pick in the draft. In the first game, he had 1 sack.
But a lot of pressure.
Will he? He didn't have a lot of pressure. But I'm talking about sacks now. 0, 1, 2, 3, a half. What does he get?
We heard Aaron say they respected him, but they didn't know what was coming.
Sure.
They know what's coming now, so you better believe it's going to be double teams, triple teams, making sure this guy right here does not wreck the game. I'm not saying he's going to get a goose egg because he's a special player, but I'm going to give him the same. I'm going to give him 1 sack.
1 sack? Okay. Aaron, if you're watching the show, he just predicted you're going to get dropped in the backfield.
Just once.
Your guy just said that. Meanwhile, let's flip it over to the AFC Championship. Patrick Mahomes coming in with a hot hand here. In that Week 10 matchup, which was a shootout in Nashville, he had 3 total touchdowns.
Yeah.
What's he going to get? Touchdown rushing or passing, total touchdowns this Sunday.
Well, you heard Willie Mack over there, man. He said the formula for the Tennessee Titans, man, what they going to do. And you heard what I said. It's going to be a blowout, right?
Said that.
So I'm saying Patrick Mahomes, it is going to be a shootout. But this kid right here is going to throw for 5 touchdown passes at home at the Cribber. You know what that is, Scotty.
Yes.
They remember what happened last year in the AFC Championship game. They will be ready to defend home turf.
Everybody who has Mahomes in the NFL.com playoff challenge would love seeing that number on the board right there.
It's going to happen.
And then we got to pick out a Tennessee Titan, so it is the Tennessee Titan. Derrick Henry went for a $188 in Week 10 against the Chiefs defense, which is improved since then. What's he going to get? What's he going to rack up at Arrowhead this time around?
Well, the only reason why I'm going to choose the number that I put up here right now is because you just seen me put 5 touchdowns for Patrick Mahomes, correct? So that means you're not really going to be able to run the ball because you're going to be down by points, and it's going to put the ball into Ryan Tannehill's hands and force Derrick Henry out of the ball game and force them to throw. So I'm going to say this kid right here, 80.
Oh, under 100
yards rushing.
Under 100.
And I'm not saying the Chiefs defense is going to be special. I'm saying Patrick Mahomes is going to be special, and they're going to have to throw if they want to have a shot at winning.
Taylor Lewan, Conklin, Henry, if they're watching that right now, they'll say, we'll take that challenge.
I got my Tennessee blue on, though, so I ain't really a true hater.
Real quick, wild card question. How many cheeseheads will show up at Levi Stadium to watch the Green Bay Packers?
Oh, we coming. It's going to be half and half up in that building. I said about 35,000 cheeseheads up in that thing. It's going to be half and half. We're going to have a party.
Any that can acquire tickets will be there, I'm sure. JJ has spoken. Lindsay?
I've got another number for you. 2, as in 2 college all-star games on our air on Saturday, starting with the East West Shrine game at 3 Eastern, followed by the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl at 7. Brett Lewis and Omar Ruiz will be on the broadcast team for that one, and they join us now for more on what to look for.
I think one of the things I've enjoyed learning about is that a third of the NFL comes from rounds 1 through 3 in the NFL draft. About a third comes from rounds 4 through 7, and about a third are undrafted. So no matter where your path to the draft takes you, have as likely a shot to make it in the NFL, and that includes some of these smaller school guys.
And we're actually seeing a smaller school quarterback this week here at the NFLPA game, talking about a guy just down the road at the University of San Diego, and Reed Sinnott is going to be getting some reps here on Saturday night, and he's had a really good practice week, and he's a guy who knows patience very well. He sat for 4 years at San Diego before finally getting his opportunity in his redshirt senior year, and ended up being one of the top players in FCS as a Walter Payton Player of the Year finalist. And we've seen some of those skills out here. He throws it really well on on the move. He's been anticipating some coverage windows, and his quarterback coach, Jeff Blake, said he really loves the way he listens. So we'll see how that transpires on Saturday.
Yeah,
as well.
same school that produced Jamal Agnew,
There you go.
the Lions cornerback. So he'll come into this game with a lot of confidence on Saturday night at 7 o'clock Eastern. Let's send it back to you now in the studio.
Looking forward to that, guys. And then it's on to Mobile, Alabama for the Reese's Senior Bowl next week. Game time 2:30 Eastern on Saturday the 25th. And we'll have a live Total Access for you at 2 to get you set for that game. And I'm pretty sure that these teams here will be interested in all of this. The teams with the top 5 picks in April's draft. Teams who have known their spot in the draft order for 2.5 weeks now, and according to Mark Ross, the first 2 had some pretty easy decisions to make. You think it's Burrow for sure to the Bengals?
I do. I think this year has been the most certain first 2 picks since I've been scouting in 1997. Cincinnati has the first pick. They need offensive line. They need some corners. But Joe Burrow just makes too much sense for them, especially after the other night in the national championship game, the display he had. He's an Ohio guy. I don't remember a draft. And, even Peyton Manning, the best quarterback prospect, had Ryan Leaf to contend with. Then it was Andrew Luck, who was the next great quarterback prospect, had the RG3 situation where there was still some debate. But Joe Burrow is just really a slam dunk as far as the number 1 pick.
The other quarterback that you would debate maybe is Tua, who has some injury issues that will knock him down. If a team came to the Bengals with a big package to maybe move up, do you think that they would take that call, or this is done?
No, I think they're pretty much set on Joe Burrow. I mean, he is looking like a transcendent type quarterback, changed the whole franchise. You don't want to mess around with missing out on a prospect like Joe Burrow. It has to be a crazy deal.
All right, so don't overthink it. And then number 2, it's the Redskins, and this is the other
this is another one that just seems like a certainty where the Redskins they need offensive line, could use another receiver, but they need pass rush. And Chase Young is the consensus best defensive player in college football. And he would provide almost like a Nick Bosa type of impact to the Redskins defensive line, where Bosa came into the 49ers line. They had some first-round picks, where now the Redskins have Sweat from last year and Ioannidis and Payne and Allen, where he doesn't have to be the main guy, but just his presence will elevate the play of the rest of those guys, and they could really cause problems in the NFC East with their front next year.
Shifting to a 4-3, that'd be a good fit. Assuming that you're right about those first 2 picks, then it would seem that the draft would really start at number 3 with the Lions. What might they do?
Yeah, I think this draft where the first 2 are certain, and then you could go a whole bunch of different ways as far as the value of players from here on out. The Lions, again, need some pass rush help. They had Trey Flowers from last year. They signed to a big deal, didn't provide the impact like they wanted. They'll be looking for a pass rusher, but really don't see that type of quality of a pass rusher this high in the draft. So let's just double down with Stafford and protect him with his Georgia alum here, Andrew Thomas at left tackle, who I think is the best left tackle in the draft. And let's get that offense rolling. Let's outscore everybody until we get the defense going with some more players down in the draft.
Okay, so maybe offensive line, but obviously that could change in the next few weeks.
A lot of changes between now and then. Yep.
In draft season. Okay, next in line is the Giants at number 4. What are their needs?
Well, the Giants, as has been documented, need offensive line help, but they spent a lot of money the last couple of years in trying to fix the offensive line. They also need a pass rusher, but as I said, there really isn't that quality this high in the draft. So let's look at receiver position. Golden Tate will be 32 years old, has a big cap number. Sterling Shepard has had the problems with the concussions, so we don't know how much he will be available. So let's go with a Jerry Jeudy from Alabama, who right now is looking like the number 1 receiver. And with Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Evan Ingram, and Jeudy, the Giants will look like they have a formidable skill position group there next year.
Some debate here from James Jones about the wide receiver group and who's the best one available. We'll have that argument for the next few months. Number 5, it's the Dolphins.
Well, the Dolphins look like they started winning games. They had the whole tank for Tua situation going on the year. They started winning. It seemed like they were out of the mix, and now guess what? They're back tanking for Tua, and Tua is sitting right there for them. They're kind of fortunate that the 3 teams in front of them don't need a quarterback. Joe Burrow goes number 1. Tua's right there. You can't rely on Fitzmagic another year. This just seems like the perfect situation for the Dolphins, where they collected all these assets and they still may end up with the franchise-changing quarterback and the tank for Tua down in South Beach.
Good stuff. So a few things to keep in mind there as we shift into draft mode with these college all-star games coming up this weekend. Senior Bowl right around the corner next week. One thing all four remain.
As for the Titans' workhorse running back, here's Tiffany Blackman in Nashville.
Derrick Henry told us today he gets more in a rhythm the more carries that he gets, and that's been evident over these last 3 weeks. In each game, he has 30 carries or more. But let's go back.